Brooklyn, New York, early 1970s, out of the struggles of single parenthood, poverty, and the rough streets of Bed-Stuy, a legend was born. Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G, would rise from hustling on the corner to become one of the most influential rappers in history. His voice, his storytelling, and his presence reshaped hip-hop forever. But behind the fame was a story filled with hardship, betrayal, and tragedy. This is the life and legacy of Biggie Smalls. Christopher Wallace was born on May 21st, 1972 in Brooklyn, New York. His father, Selwyn George, left the family when Biggie was just 2 years old, leaving his mother, Voletta Wallace, to raise him on her own. Voletta worked as a preschool teacher and did her best to provide a stable life for her son. Despite living in tough streets of Brooklyn, she made sure Biggie never went hungry, and she emphasized education and discipline. As a child, Biggie was known as bright and witty. He excelled in school, particularly in English, and he even won awards for writing skills. But outside the classroom, the streets of Brooklyn were tough, and temptation was always around the corner. One of his close friends, D-Roc, eventually introduced him to selling crack cocaine as a teenager. The lure of quick money began to pull him away from the straight path his mother tried so hard to keep him on. By the time he was a teenager, Christopher started to drift away from school. After learning his girlfriend was pregnant with his daughter, he dropped out of high school and committed himself to hustling full-time to provide. His mother eventually discovered his drug-dealing lifestyle and, heartbroken, kicked him out of the house. Biggie continued hustling in the streets until he was eventually arrested. He was caught with drugs and firearms and ended up serving close to a year in jail. After his release, Biggie decided to change his direction. While hustling had been his main focus, rap had always been his hidden talent. He started freestyling on the streets of Brooklyn, gaining respect in local rap battles. During this time, he met Kimberly Jones, better known to the world as Lil Kim. She confided in him about being in an abusive relationship, and their bond grew closer, eventually leading to her becoming one of Biggie's proteges, taking her under his wing as a part of Junior M.A.F.I.A. Biggie's big break came when he connected with Puffy Combs, who was once an intern at Uptown Records. Puffy quickly recognized Biggie's raw talent and brought him into the industry. When Puffy left Uptown to form Bad Boy Records in 1993, he made Biggie one of his first signees. This partnership would change hip-hop forever. Biggie's early singles, like Party and Bullshit, began to create buzz, but it was his debut album, Ready to Die in 1994, that turned him into a superstar. Tracks like Juicy, Big Poppa, and One More Chance became instant classics and cemented his place at the top of the rap game. While his career was taking off, Biggie also developed a close friendship with Tupac Shakur. The two rappers admired each other's talents and spent time together, often hanging out in New York and Los Angeles. However, their relationship would take a tragic turn. In 1994, Tupac was shot at Quad Studios 5 times, and he suspected Biggie and Puffy had prior knowledge of the attack. Although Biggie denied any involvement, the seeds of mistrust were planted, and East Coast versus West Coast rivalry began to spiral out of control. Diss tracks, public insults, and media attention only fueled the fire. Biggie continued to find success with his music, releasing hits like Hypnotize and More Money, More Problems. But the tension between him and Tupac overshadowed his career. Sadly, just 6 months after Tupac's murder in Las Vegas in September 1996, Biggie himself was gunned down on March 9th, 1997, while leaving a party in Los Angeles. Biggie was shot and killed at just 24 years old. His death, like Tupac's, remains unsolved to this day. Despite his short life, Biggie's impact on hip-hop is eternal. His storytelling ability, smooth flow, larger-than-life presence left a permanent mark on music. His second album, Life After Death, was released just weeks after his murder and went on to become one of the most celebrated rap albums of all time. The Notorious B.I.G story is both inspiring and heartbreaking. He went from a kid in Brooklyn, raised by a single mother, to hustling in the streets, to becoming one of the greatest rappers the world has ever seen. His influence still echoes through hip-hop culture today, proving that legends never die. The kid from Bed-Stuy who turned his pain and struggles into timeless music, his story is a reminder of how fast success can come and how quickly it can be taken away. Even though Biggie's life ended far too soon, his words, his voice, and his influence will never fade to this day. His music still echoes through the streets of New York and beyond, cementing him as one of the greatest to ever touch a microphone.